Sam waited until Dad had taken a bite of his cheeseburger, then asked, "I wonder if Clara knows the Harp horses have to be Mustangs." Then she casually popped a French fry into her mouth. "Honey, she's not about to be giving us a horse. She couldn't afford to if she had one." Dad chewed and nodded, which she doesn't. Just the same, he watched Clara as if she were a time bomb. Sam started eating her own delicious lunch. Even though Graham made great home-cooked meals, Sam missed going out to eat. When she lived in San Francisco with Aunt Sue, they'd had about half their meals in restaurants. Although Clara's lacked a big city atmosphere, it was still a treat. And a surprise. Sam had expected Dad to drive straight home after they'd delivered Buff, a Riverbend horse, to a lady in Darton who rented him each summer for her visiting grandchildren. Instead, Dad had pulled the truck and empty horse trailer into the parking lot between Clara's and Phil's Phillip. Pulling on the parking brake, he declared that as long as they needed chicken feed from the Alkali store, they might as well have lunch, too. But now Dad was watching the clock. No surprise there, Sam thought. Dad couldn't forget the work awaiting him at home. Besides, Brianna would arrive at Riverbend Ranch with the 2 new Harp girls pretty soon. Sam had promised herself she'd be tolerant and understanding. No matter what kind of trouble the girls had been in, at Riverbend Ranch their pasts wouldn't matter. She was feeling quite mature as she sipped her milkshake. "I'll treat them just like I'd want to be treated," Sam thought. But then her tranquility wavered. Dad put down his cheeseburger and his expression turned serious. "About that chicken feed," he reminded her. Sam knew he wasn't talking about the burlap bags of feed they'd just loaded into the truck. "Dad, I didn't spill it," Sam insisted. "Well, it wasn't much. You might not have noticed." Sam sighed. There was no use contradicting him. Since she was the one in charge of feeding the Rhode Island red hens each morning, Dad was certain she was to blame for the grains of cracked corn he'd found on the tack room floor. She let him talk, even though she didn't see why it was such a big deal. Her expression must have given her away. "Samantha, this is important. Scattered grain attracts mice. Mice bring snakes. I hear this is going to be a bad year for rattlers, and I don't want anyone, 2-legged or 4, being bit." "Okay," Sam agreed. The cheeseburger felt heavy in her stomach. Her arms crawled with chills. "No need to look scared," Dad said. "Mostly they keep to themselves if you just leave them be." "Mostly?" "Okay," Sam said again. She wished she could keep the scared sound out of her voice. She had nothing against snakes. She thought they were kind of interesting, but the 2 years she'd spent away from the ranch in San Francisco had done more than expose her to neat restaurants. She'd become nervous over things most ranch girls took for granted, like snakes. "I'll be really careful," Sam promised. She felt relieved as Millie rushed in through the restaurant's back door. Still trying to tie her apron strings, the tardy waitress attracted Dad's attention for a minute. Then Clara crossed the coffee shop, wagging her order pad with raised eyebrows as she approached their table. "Now," Clara said, "before my lunch rush hits." Sam glanced out the front window. She could see the empty highway and the edge of the bone-white playa. Far out, blurred by heat waves, the Calico Mountains zigzagged against the blue Nevada sky. She couldn't imagine where a rush of lunch-hour diners would come from. "I was joking, Sam," Clara said. "Afraid there's no lunch rush, if business doesn't pick up." She gave a pained smile, then made a dismissing wave. "Anyway, I've got to tell you about this horse." Dad placed the last of his burger on his plate and stared at it as if he'd lost his appetite. "Oh, now, Wyatt Forster, don't you go looking all mournful," Clara scolded him. "You're from a horse family and you went and married a horse-loving woman just last Christmas, so what do you expect?" Dad leaned back in his chair with a tolerant smile. "Go on, then," he told her. "A man came in here yesterday for his lunch, about your age and occupation, I'd say, and while he was eating, I heard all kinds of racket outside. I remarked on it to him, and it turned out he had a horse, a Gruyere gelding, he called him, that was going crazy." Sam's mind spun as she tried to remember exactly what a Gruyere-colored horse